How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.
That's difficult to answer.
inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be out you.
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Can we grow up a little bit and
Alt
not
Girl
be
sent $200.
retarded?
Have you
Please.
seen the work of Karlyn Borysenko? Anti-commie cult leader and is obsessed with looking at what actual far-left communists are talking about and organizing today, infiltrating them. They infiltrated the universities, schools, media. She has the receipts to back it up. Primary source evidence. Infestation is dire and she calls Republicans idiots eating slop. Agree.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, oh, I know Karlyn B. She's solid. She's funny. I
The
like
great
her.
noticer sent $200.
Literally.
So
not
it's,
Ian.
it's not because
Yeah.
I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage, but that's the big part of what's the
Is that
problem.
what you call reporters?
Go
and live
under if
streaming?
you're going to do it.
Yeah,
go
seriously.
undercover. Otherwise, you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah, please.
But Ian, here's and I agree with you to an extent.
What's up, everyone? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy week between Christmas and New Year's when literally nothing happens. Nothing happens. It's the most boring week that has ever been weeked. There's nothing going on. Most of you took off work, which was a really good idea because why, there's side note, employers should just shut down the office the entire week between Christmas and New Year's. There's literally no reason to have anyone working between Christmas and New Year's unless they're doing something important like serving me coffee or selling me groceries or something like that. Most corporate jobs, you guys should just have the entire week off because nothing is getting done. Like literally nothing is getting done. Actually, I'm being super productive though. I'm being super, super, super productive. I'm wrapping up a couple of projects that I've hopefully just want to have done by the end of the year for things that I've been working on. One of those projects is I'm getting what I'm doing. You guys are gonna fucking love this. So do you guys know all of those zines that I've been running around the country collecting like all year long, or at least for like the last, several months. So I've gone to all these anarchist book fairs, I've gone to all these anarchist events, and I've just been collecting piles and piles and piles of their propaganda, okay? Well, finally, at long last, I am forcing myself to sit down and actually catalog every single zine that I have collected at all the different events I've gone to, and do it by event and provide you guys with a digital PDF. And I know you have, right? And I know you have, but I wanted to have this categorized by event on the website. I know, and it's super, super helpful. And I absolutely did utilize this, and I want you to know that. But I'm just saying, I want to have it cataloged all publicly on the website. And so I actually had to go through and like actually look at every single thing that I got, which was, it's been a big project. So but what's on the website right now is the Boston Dyke March. This is something I'm going to keep adding to. And this is basically one of the first big like events that I went to this year and just grabbed a whole bunch of Antifa stuff. It was when I accidentally ran into Antifa on the Boston Common during June, when I was down there for Pride and stuff like that. And so, well, you're just going to have to settle the fuck down. I'm going to tell you right now. So what we are doing right now is I am making a list of every single zine that I collected at in-person events on the website by event, which is a big enough task as it is, okay? They will be in order based on the event-based sorting of it. They will be in order alphabetically. There's going to be a separate project that is going to come after this, in which I'm going to go through and work with people who, quite frankly, know what they're talking about to analyze them and sort them by category and year. But that is going to take place second, because the first thing I need to do is get these things cataloged by event. And the reason I need to get them cataloged by event, and I don't care about the year, I do not care right now about the year that it was published. I do not care right now about categorizing it based on the topic. The reason I need to go through and get them categorized by event is so that we can see which propaganda is showing up in different geographic locations of the country. So I want to know, the purpose of collecting zines is I want to know what ideas are circulating in the far left ecosystem now, today, not 200 years ago, not 100 years ago, not 50 years ago, not 10 years ago, not 5 years ago, not even last year. I want to know what is going on the left today. What ideas are they publishing today? What ideas are they distributing at some of their bigger events that they distribute propaganda at? What are the ideas that are at the forefront of their mind? And I want to know it by geographic location, because wouldn't you know it, people in Boston have different interests than people in Seattle or San Francisco or any of these other places. So I want to know what ideas are propagating where. There will, in some cases, be overlap between the different geographic areas where I've picked up the same zine, like especially the queer stuff and some of the historical stuff. Some of the same zines are distributed at like literally every leftist zine event, and you just pick up the same thing everywhere. Some of the zines, however, are very, very, very specific to the region. And so there's definitely some, and this is especially true in Seattle. Seattle has a lot of weird quirks to it. Can't get my hair out of my mouth, apparently. Especially in Seattle, there were a lot of things that I picked up that I hadn't seen other places. And so I want to make sure we are looking at this by geography, because there are certain idiosyncrasies in Seattle that don't exist in Boston, and so on and so forth. The other thing that I'm hoping, so this is another thing that I'm going to be setting up a way for, people to send me stuff, is what I'm hoping is that in 2026, because I am starting to have a hard time going undercover at events because they're running around with pictures of me on their phone looking for me. Because I am having a harder time going undercover at events, one of my missions in 2026 is to build an army of people all over the country who are willing to go to their zine events and get all their propaganda and send them to me, or to otherwise get the information to me. I want people who are willing to go undercover at DSA events and actually sign up to be a member of your local DSA so that you get access to all their internal meetings and actually go there and pretend to be a member and actually go to their stuff and then give it to me and tell me what's going on. I want to work with people who want to go to the more radical far left events and go and listen and record them. I will teach you. One of the big things I have on my docket for this coming year, and I already kind of started this, but it's definitely going to be one of the big things moving forward, is I basically want to build a school and a class in which I am teaching people to do what I do, because it's going undercover with the far left is an interesting thing because it's not difficult. I really do believe anyone can do this, but there are certain things that you need to know and that you need to understand in order to do it effectively. So I do not believe that anyone can just walk in off the street and successfully go undercover at a far left event if they don't speak the language, if they don't understand the culture of the event, if they don't know how to dress, if they don't know how to talk to people, because you are going to have to talk to people, if they're unwilling to wear a mask, if they're not willing to sit there and not make faces, if they're not willing to not engage in the owning the libs bullshit that the right does every single day of their fucking lives without fail. Like there are certain things that, like, it's not difficult, but it does take attention and it does take, a certain amount of nuance. And you have to be willing to teach yourself about the far left. And I will help you do this through the classes I've created and whatnot, to be able to interact with them so that they think that you are one of them. This is the key. If you don't speak their language, you're not going to know what to look for. If you don't understand the basic concepts about the left, you're not going to know what to look for. When I go to one of these events, you guys should see me. I'm like a fucking ninja at these events. Some of the people who gone with me, Trendlin can testify to this. Trendlin has seen me, and Trendlin went to one of the events with me. And Trendlin got into all sorts of conversations with a non-binary indigenous person, and that was really weird. But whatever, Trendlin has seen me do this. I'm basically like a fucking ninja when I go undercover with the left. I get in. I know exactly where to go. I know exactly what materials I'm looking for. I go as quickly as I can to all the different things. I get all their stuff and I get the fuck out. And because the very minimum I want to make sure that I've gotten the propaganda that I need to get to really understand what is going on in this ecosystem, who are the groups involved, what are they talking about, stuff like that. But I don't mingle. I don't hang out. I basically try to lay as low as possible, get as much shit as I can, spend as little money as possible, because sometimes you do have to spend money for their stuff, but sometimes you don't too. Most of the time you don't. They mostly give it away for free, but sometimes you want to bring a couple extra bucks to spend money and stuff like that, whatever. I know how to get in and get out and not get caught. And I just don't think, like, based on the attitude that I see with a lot of people, especially that are brand new to my work, I'm talking with them the last couple of months, it's like they're not going to know what to do. They're not going to know what to look for. They're not going to know how to behave. And so what I want to do is a series of videos basically teaching people what I know about going undercover with the left. I want to have classes making sure people are up to date on the language of the left and what ideas they're talking about. I already have some of those things available on demand, but I want to redo them again and do live classes. We want to do Occupy Libraries, so we're going to be showing this footage, hopefully, fingers crossed, all around the country so that people can actually see the footage that we've been watching on the channel and stuff like that. Hopefully help to recruit more people there. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff I'm going to do, but one of the things is I do want to build an army of people, and I want to give you guys resources and I guess like training, for lack of a better word, to be able to go undercover at these events, to get the right propaganda, to get in, to get out, to not get caught, to not put yourself in any danger. Again, most of you guys are not going to be in the same situation that I'm in because I'm a public person on the internet. Now, I'm not the most famous person in the world, and I don't really want to be, but the far left knows who I am. The far left actually knows me better now, just because of all the shenanigans I've gotten into this year. I've gotten a lot more high-profile interviews. They put my face out there a whole lot more, and I've been on all these shows, and they've now figured out, like, Turning Point covered it. Turning Point followed me around to a bunch of these events. The far left has now figured the fuck out who I am, but they actually knew who I was before that. But now I'm getting more and more high profile. So they look for me Most of you are not going to have that problem, okay? Most of you are going to be perfectly safe going to these events as long as you follow a few simple guidelines that I give you, mostly around you are there to professionally analyze what they are doing and just collect their stuff. You are not there to fight with them. You are not there to own the libs. You are not there to create viral content that go viral on Twitter because you want to get in a fight with the Antifa to be famous on the fucking internet. None of that bullshit. That is not what we are doing here. So for people that are interested in this, there's going to be more coming in that. And one of the things I definitely want to do is have as many people as possible, like even create calendars of events, making sure reaching out to people. I have people all over the country in my community. And I know that many of you would be perfectly willing to go to a zine event and walk around and get their zines. And some of you might actually kind of find it fun and cool. And it is fun and cool. It's kind of a trip. I will say this about going undercover. It's like walking into an alternate universe. It's like, you guys know, like it's like walking into like a video that we would watch on the channel. It's like you're in the TV show, you're in the reality TV show, and it's a fucking trip. And so I hope that, I think we are going to have people that are going to be interested in doing it. And I think you guys are going to have fun. And one of the things we're going to do with the things you collect is make it all publicly available on the website. Make sure we're cataloging all of this. Make sure we're tracking what ideas are showing up in the ecosystem. New ideas show up all the time. Some ideas are more prominent than others. That is how we know what the far left is going to do next. This is why my work is more predictive of what the left is doing than anyone else on the internet. I can tell you months and months and months ahead of time what they're going to do, and then I turn out to be right, and everyone always acts shocked that I'm right. But I told you guys they were doing anti-ICE organizing since January. You got, like, the conservative right didn't discover this until June. I told you this in January. Anyway, the reason I knew that is I was reading their stuff, essentially. So I'm logging that all on the Center for Left Wing Studies website. You can find that at leftwingstudies.com/zines if you want to take a look at the ones from Boston. I'm working on New York, Seattle, San Francisco, some stuff I picked up in Portland as well. So I'm going to be getting all my stuff up there by the end of the year so that you guys can go and actually download the PDFs and see the same things that I'm seeing at these events. Every single thing I'm putting in this particular list are things that I actually have physical copies of. And so these are the ideas that are quite literally showing up in the real world. Yeah, so this is actually a great idea. This is a great way to start, like, kind of going quote unquote undercover with the left. There's a radical bookstore in Charlottesville, Virginia. I'd like to get to know at some point. That's a great idea. That is a perfect way to get started, is to just go walk around a radical bookstore. Go see what stickers they have. Go see what free stuff they're giving out. Go see what events people are advertising at the bookstore. Go and see what books they're selling. They probably have zines in the bookstore. They probably have all sorts of leftist propaganda in the bookstore. You can just go anytime, walk around. You're not going to be in any danger. They're going to be perfectly nice to you. Just don't do something stupid and pick a fight or something like a conservative content creator would do. Just go and be chill and just look around. Or alternatively, a lot of times they do book readings or author readings or something like that. Educational events, you can go to one of their classes, you can go to one of their events and actually get a feel for like what it's like. So I think that's actually a really good way for a lot of people to start, because anyone can go into a bookstore. You're not going to be put in physical danger by going in and walking around a bookstore and just kind of seeing what it's like. Because if you really do find a radical revolutionary bookstore, and by the way, we're working on mapping out a list of all these bookstores all over the country, yet another project on the docket for the Center of Left-Wing Studies that no one else is doing. So we're working on mapping out like the bookstore ecosystem specifically. If you find a true radical bookstore, it will be like walking into a socialist event. It's the same vibe. It's the same feeling. Now, not all bookstores are radical bookstores. Not all leftist bookstores are radical bookstores. There are a lot of progressive bookstores out there. So sometimes you'll go into a bookstore and like they may have some lefty stuff, but it's not. When you walk into a radical bookstore, this, you know what, like unironically, this will probably be the very best way to teach people the difference between Democrats and communists. Because you can go into a progressive bookstore and it's going to feel like you're in a Barnes and Noble, essentially. It's a Barnes and Noble progressive bookstore. It's probably got a couple chairs. Maybe they have some coffee. They don't have a lot of overt political stuff. It's like cooking and gardening and you know, all this other stuff over here. You may find a couple pride flags, you may find some like very boring leftist stuff, but like you're in a Barnes and Noble essentially when you're in a progressive bookstore. Only literal retards think there's no difference. Are you smart enough to be on my channel? Only literal retards think this. See, like we have IQ requirements here. My God. See, this is your average conservative retard that would go to a socialist event and start trying to dunk on them to get famous on the internet, and then they would wonder why they get the shit kicked out of them. Anyway, so you got your Barnes and Noble progressive bookstores. Might find some leftist stuff, probably not going to find a lot. The minute that you walk into a radical revolutionary communist bookstore, you will inherently understand the difference between Democrats and communists. And actually, Average Person is a great person to testify to this, because Average Person is a member of my community that has gone to the radical revolutionary bookstores, that has gone undercover with the socialists. This guy does a lot of stuff. This guy is deeply important. I'm so glad you're back, bro. Missed you all, but honestly, I had an amazing vacation doing absolutely nothing. I appreciate that, and thank you for the super chat. But he understands the difference because he has been in both, and I know that because I was with him when he was in both. But he does it separately from me too. Doug, thank you for being a member of the channel for 2 months. I really, really do appreciate it. So anyway, there'll be more information coming out about that. I just wanted you guys to know that I was working on that. We're also going to be seeing a lot more educational resources going up and live on decodetheleft.com, to include the infamous Decode the Left dictionary, to include, I'm going to be doing more like topic-based pages like I'm doing here. This is decodetheleft.com/Antifa, assuming that it works. There we go. And on this, you can find a series of clips from Socialism Saturday from this past week that were deeply, deeply informative about the origins of Antifa in the United States. So if you missed Socialism Saturday this past week, I highly recommend, especially for new people, this might be a really good episode for you to go back and watch, because I have to give Reagan all the credit for this. Reagan was the one who said, Karlyn, you need to watch these videos, because she had already done it. And this is the origin. We found the origin for what has become Antifa in the United States today. And no, it didn't start in Germany. It started in Minnesota in 1986 in the punk community with a bunch of anti-racist skinheads who created a national youth movement called Anti-Racist Action. And if you look at the history of anti-racist action, and in the videos on these channels, they explicitly say, we were the ones that came before Antifa. There is a huge overlap between our membership base and Antifa. They talked about developing all the tactics that Antifa uses today. They talked about how this all got started, and you can see so many similarities between what happened with anti-racist action and everything that we've been seeing on the far left for decades and decades and decades. This is militant, anti-fascist, anarcho-communist organizing in the United States. It has an origin point. It was not Germany. It was the punk music scene in Minnesota in the 1980s. That is the origin of Antifa in the United States. I bet every fucking thing that I own on it. Everything we see in terms of the militant far left today started with anti-racist action. Maybe they were inspired by things that happened before that, but this was the big thing that allowed them to organize nationally. And this is the thing that has led to the thousands of decentralized cells of Antifa all over the country. I'm not suggesting that some of the far left organizations that exist today didn't exist before this. Again, I do think there was a lot of stuff going on and a convergence of a lot of different things. Obviously, queer activism started before 1986. Actually, isn't it funny? Yes, that is exactly right. Antifa were ex-sharps. Yes, that is correct. This was the origin for what developed into their militant form of activism as we know it today. And so, but isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that the ACT UP movement, which is the ACT UP movement, was the first militant queer activist movement in the United States? The ACT UP movement technically started in 1987. Isn't it funny that anti-racist action started in 1986 And the ACT UP movement started in 1987. It's kind of like these movements are running parallel with each other, and there is a lot of overlap between Antifa and militant queer activism. There's absolutely overlap. Now, I would argue that militant queer activism is kind of like it's, militant queer activism is like a mutated strain of Antifa. It's like it has a lot of similarities to Antifa. It also has some very, 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 very distinct differences. So it's kind of like they're cousins. They have some things in common, but they kind of started going like this at some point, but they're still kind of running parallel, but they're still two different things. Does that make sense? It's like there's a lot that they have in common. There's also just some really like specific nuances you see in militant queer activism. There's some specific nuances that you see in Antifa that are just like separate from each other. But isn't it funny that it all starts around the same time period, which is the mid to late 80s? Okay. Anyway, this is the stuff that I do on this channel is I analyze the far left. I go through, I'm trying to figure out the actual origin and evolution of all these ideas. So I'm interested in the historical context as it exists actually on the ground so that we can see how the Mattachine Society and the Daughters of Bilitis, which were two of the original gay rights organizations, became the Gay Liberation Front, became the Street Transvestites Action Network, or whatever that star thing was called, that became the ACT UP movement, that became anti-racist action, that became the bashback movement, that became what we deal with today. It's fascinating when you see the evolution of these ideas, because when you go back and you look at it on a timeline, it really does go like this. It is the evolution of every single far left thing that we see happening in the world right now. It was entirely and completely predictable if you just look at when it starts and how it progressed over the course of time. And I think I might be the only person doing this particular thing, which makes me a little nervous and adds a little bit of pressure. I'm not going to lie. But I think that this is critically important for people to understand. And I think this has been a missing piece for this whole ideology that we have to deal with today. So that is what I've been working on. If you want to support the work I'm doing, the very best place to do so, not there either. Where's my Substack? Why don't I have my Substack up? You know what I can do is I'm just gonna go to the Substack over here. There we go. If you appreciate my work and you want to support the work I'm doing, head over to my Substack. That is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. You can find the link in the description below, whether you are watching on YouTube or Rumble, or I think I'm on Kick or Twitter or wherever. Subscribe for $8 a month, $80 a year. You guys keep me in business, even when my screen turns itself off. There we are. We're back on again. You guys keep me in business. I'm 100% funded by people like you. I have no political masters. I have no political narrative. I can say whatever the fuck I want. I can call out whoever I want. My only job is to show up and to tell you guys the truth and to show you the receipts. And that is it. That's it. So if you appreciate what I do, analyzing this stuff, breaking it down, doing live classes on the internet, please feel free to contribute over on the Substack. You can also contribute by sending in a super chat. Thank you, two ladies, Little Miss. The bookstore in Seattle was definitely which I was at. Yeah, that bookstore right in downtown Seattle that's right outside of the Seattle Public Market. What is that called? I forget the name of it, but it's like literally right in front of the Seattle Public Market sign. That is a radical revolutionary communist bookstore. That is not Barnes & Noble, and you will know the difference walking into it. Doug, thank you for the super chat. Class Dues, Fascist Fund, and Mutual Aid. Appreciate you very, very much, bro. Appreciate it. So one of the things I get to do, because I have no political masters, and we'll be getting to the Nick Shirley stuff in a moment, but I have to talk about this. I have to talk about it. So the other day, Harmeet Dillon tweets out, "One day I'm going to tell you folks what I really think." Yeah, Pike Place Market. That Left Bank Books. Thank you, average person. Left Bank Books. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Harmeet Dillon, for people who don't know, I have a little bit of a history with Harmeet Dillon in that when I discovered a faculty member at Texas State University calling to overthrow the government, I sent the clip of the communists calling to overthrow the government to Harmeet Dillon, and Harmeet told me that she cared a whole lot more about my use of capital letters than she did about a communist faculty member calling to overthrow the government from his taxpayer position at Texas State University. And I, was not too happy about that, because Harmeet Dillon is supposed to be the person in charge of getting DEI out of universities, and yet she doesn't seem to give a flying flip about communist teaching at taxpayer-funded positions in Texas, talking about overthrowing the government, teaching education majors. It's almost like Harmeet didn't know what the hell she was doing. So I called Harmeet's ass out on that, because to me, that was an egregious infraction. And Harmeet got very upset with me, because Harmeet does not like to be criticized by anyone, because she is the Assistant Attorney General of the United States. And apparently she thinks she's better than everyone else, and blah, 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 blah. Well, Harmeet the other day said, one day I'm going to tell you folks what I really think. And I, of course, replied, and I said, then have some integrity and do it now. Because honestly, Harmeet is a government employee. She works for us. If Harmeet knows that there's nefarious shit going on in the government, then as one of the chief law enforcement officers in the United States, the Assistant Attorney General in the Department of Justice, Harmeet has a responsibility to tell people if there is illegal and nefarious shit going on. And if she's just hinting about it on Twitter because she's like, she feels like, that she's trying to get a dopamine hit from getting a response or whatever the fuck she's doing, I find this to be a little bit egregious. Just a little bit. If that bitch has something to say, she should damn well be saying it. That is her job. But Harmeet apparently has forgotten that she is in a government-funded job. And Harmeet started telling people that she was going to block them because they asked her to actually do her fucking job. This is one of the most insane crash outs I've ever seen, especially of a government official. So this random person on the internet replies to Harmeet. Apparently she had gotten into a fight with the Assistant Attorney General of the United States. And she says, I'm not an influencer, nor is my account monetized. I am a fed up American citizen who isn't going to take these PSYOP exercises from the administration I have supported for a year, only to see criminals never charged or walking away when they are. The chief complaint that Harmeet got is, you guys don't do anything. Can you start arresting people? Can you start doing something? Can you start doing fucking anything? Can you start doing anything that is not writing a strongly worded letter? I don't think it's an unreasonable request. But Harmeet apparently did, and Harmeet blocked the person and called them boring and incoherent. Well, that's very commendable behavior, Harmeet, but it continued. Harmeet then said, my goodness, are you people really gonna make me put down my knitting and explain the statute of limitations to you, for fuck's sake? Now listen. Obviously, I'm a fan of knitting. Obviously, I knit on my stream. I have no problem with knitting. I have no problem with knitting in public. I have no problem with knitting during your job. I would have a whole lot more respect for Harmeet if Harmeet went to meetings with her fucking knitting while instructing people to arrest Antifa and all these people teaching DEI shit at colleges and doing anything that fucking matters. If Harmeet brought her fucking knitting to a meeting where they were talking about how they're going to arrest everyone and actually make things better, and she was sitting there knitting the whole fucking time, I wouldn't give a flying fuck. My point is that Harmeet Dillon is the Assistant Attorney General of the United States. She should be able to multitask, and if she can't multitask, then she needs to put down the fucking knitting and start doing her goddamn job. And I don't think I'm the only person who had this feeling. And then Harmeet Dillon says, conservative influencers, if you think you are keeping the pressure on or winning by spreading bullshit attacks on Donald Trump's hand-picked cabinet, you are not. You are earning money to spread misinformation. You are hoes. Learn an honest profession. Now, can we talk about the fact that Harmeet Dillon is a lawyer? Telling people to go find an honest profession. And Harmeet Dillon is a lawyer. I don't know about you guys, but I don't actually perceive lawyers to be the most honest of professions. First of all. Secondly, I have had Harmeet on video spreading misinformation about Antifa and the far left. Harmeet has given multiple interviews where she has spread blatant misinformation about Antifa and the far left. And I have evidence that contradicts all the fucking shit that Harmeet told people, because she took Andy No's word for it and didn't actually do any investigating herself. So Harmeet Dillon herself is guilty of spreading misinformation, but apparently her misinformation is okay, whereas everyone else has a responsibility to get the approval of the Assistant Attorney General of the United States before they fucking do anything. And then can we just talk about the fact that she called everyone hoes? Excuse me? Excuse me. Harmeet, excuse me? Harmeet Dillon is the one who sold her soul to get a high-profile government job so that she could be part of the cool kids table. You want to know what this whole thing reminds me of? This whole thing with Harmeet Dillon reminds me of, like, the nerdy girl in school who the boys didn't like the nerdy girl in school, and the nerdy girl in school always wanted to be part of the cool kids club, but she wasn't allowed to sit at the table with the cheerleaders, and she always felt really bad about that, and she just had to be the nerdy girl in school and never got the attention in school that she wanted. But now Harmeet Dillon finally, at long last, feels like she's at the cool kids table. Harmeet Dillon has been invited to sit with the popular clique. And Harmeet Dillon has forgotten her fucking place. Harmeet Dillon has gotten a little bit of a head about her, because all she wanted all of her life was to be part of the popular kid and all part of the cool kids club and all this stuff. And she's worked really hard to get where she is. It's not an easy get to become the Assistant Attorney General of the United States. And she's worked so hard, and she finally got to the cool kids table. And now she's upset that people are trying to question her, because she feels like she didn't question the cool kids when they were at the cool kids table. She just waited her turn, and now her turn has come, and people are questioning her, and she can't handle it, and she called them hoes. Well, that went out over about as well as you might think it went over. So Harmeet Dillon just started blocking people that were questioning her, even if they were like MAGA people. We've got this tweet here. Breaking: President Trump's DOJ lawyer Harmeet Dillon was reportedly begun blocking American citizens on her personal X account who call for the government to arrest and hold people accountable. And then Harmeet got a whole news story written about her. DOJ attorney Dillon blasts conservative influencers for attacks on Trump, calls them hoes. And I just want to say I told you guys so. I just want to say I told you so. I have to take my I told you so moment, because I called Harmeet out for her bullshit months and months and months ago. I told you guys Harmeet didn't actually care about stopping the left. I told you guys that Harmeet didn't actually care about getting anything done. I said all this, and people attacked me for it. They said, Karlyn, why are you infighting? Why are you attacking Harmeet Dillon? And I said, well, I don't actually like it when people lie to the American people and misinform them and don't do their fucking jobs that they're paid to do with our taxes. And I feel like I have a responsibility as an American to call out the taxpayer-funded Assistant Attorney General and to tell her to go fuck herself when she damn well deserves it, when she's allowing communists to teach in taxpayer-funded positions at taxpayer-funded colleges, teaching people how to overthrow the government in their education classes and not doing a thing about it because it wasn't in the conservative news cycle, which is really all Harmeet cares about, because Harmeet has spent a lot of time in the last year going on Fox News and doing all sorts of interviews, and she's got her media appearance down, and she's real good at that, just like Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi spent a lot of time on the TV. A lot of time on the TV. And I told everyone this is going to happen, and I was right again because I always am. And, watching the Harmeet crash out of 2025, I have to admit it is a bit validating. It feels good. I feel like the truth has been exposed. Everyone now knows who this woman is and that she's not going to do shit about anything. She's going to sit in her government job for the next 3 years unless she gets herself fired for this whole social media thing or has to resign or whatever. Too bad, so sad, Harmeet. Should have been a real and authentic person. Should have actually cared about something. And if you can't here's the thing. If Harmeet Dillon can't do something about all of these different things that she's supposed to be in charge of fixing, then she needs to explain to the American people why. Why doesn't Harmeet Dillon care that there are self-professed communists calling to overthrow the government at taxpayer-funded universities around the country? Why doesn't Harmeet Dillon actually care about stopping Antifa? Why doesn't Harmeet Dillon actually care what the left means by whiteness? Because it has nothing to do with white people and white skin color. Why doesn't Harmeet care about any of the stuff that we cover on this channel or anything having to do with any problem related to, I don't know, arresting people for doing illegal bullshit? I was to believe that Antifa was declared a terrorist organization, and yet here we are. No one's being arrested. And so I don't feel like it's too much to ask for government officials to shut the fuck up and do their jobs. And if they can't shut the fuck up and do their jobs because they're being prevented from doing their job for some reason or another, then she needs to explain to us why. What is preventing Harmeet Dillon from doing her job other than she might be spending a little too much time knitting? Or she needs to learn how to multitask. Or minimally, she needs to shut the fuck up and get off Twitter, because this bullshit where you're arguing with random anonymous retards on Twitter when you're supposed to be the Assistant Attorney General of the United States, there are no words. There are no words. But the important part here, again, is that I was right, and everyone should remember that. Okay, let's get into something more important, shall we? Nick Shirley. Now, I want it to be, really known that I, of course, call people on their bullshit all the time. If I think that Andy No is lying to the American people about what Antifa actually is, I will say I think Andy No is lying and misinforming the public for reasons X, Y, B, and Z. And here's why that's a problem, as I have done many, many, many times since Andy No has gone completely unhinged about his analysis on the far left. I have no problem calling people out. I also have no problem calling out what I called out James Lindsay way before any of the Archangel Michael stuff, way before most people were even pissed off at him. Thank you for the $10 super chat. If Tim Wall says he's being persecuted by white supremacists, is he actually saying persecuted by capitalists? Yes. Because his fraud and giveaways were a socialist type activity or plan. If he says he's being persecuted by white supremacists, what he's referring to is the system that upholds racism, systemic racism. Systemic racism means capitalism. So he's not saying capitalists as in the individual. He's not saying you capitalist are persecuting me. He's saying he's persecuted or oppressed by systemic racism. It is systemic racism that is persecuting the Somalis. It is systemic racism that is oppressing the Somalis. It is systemic racism. That's the reason that we need to give all our taxpayer money to Somalis. That is what he's referring to. So he's not referring to the individual. He's referring to the system that is creating the oppression in the first place. When you think of systemic racism, think system that upholds racism, which of course means capitalism, because they believe capitalism created racism, and you cannot undo systemic racism without undoing capitalism. I hope that helps. If you have any other questions, please do let me know if you need me to clarify or anything like that. I do appreciate the $10, and that's a good and thoughtful question, and I always appreciate it when people send me money to answer good and thoughtful questions. Thanks, bro. Hey, thanks for the $10 super chat. I wouldn't put it past the government to let Antifa keep doing their BS to cause panic to get votes in the future. I don't disagree with you on that one little bit. Yeah, I 100% agree. So anyway, I'm not opposed to calling people on their bullshit when I think they need to be called out. What I will say is I actually do like Nick Shirley. And I like Nick Shirley before he went massively viral for this story. Now, I think Nick Shirley is a young guy. And I think that, he gets off on the clickbait content sometimes, but he's a young guy. I can forgive him for that. He's a young guy. I have actually always thought that Nick Shirley just did good work. I've been very impressed with what I've seen from him in terms of he's a young man, so this makes sense, right? I've been very impressed with what I've seen from him in terms of him putting himself into dangerous situations in order to get the story. And again, I think he does do some clickbait stuff. I really do. But I think that overall, the stuff that he exposes is important stuff for people to see. And I think it's especially important for people to see how law enforcement reacts a lot of the times and how the government reacts a lot of times to what he's doing. I think he does a good job. I don't have anything negative to say about Nick Shirley. And I've actually appreciated a lot of the stories that he's covered even before this. And I want it just to be known for the record that I don't shit talk everyone. I shit talk the people who I think deserve being shit talked. But when I see someone out there that's actually just trying to cover stuff and actually trying to expose important information, and this kid has balls, man. He does. This kid has balls. And I really do hope that the success that he's had on this story will not only keep him out there in perpetuity forever, which I'm sure it will. He is set up for the rest of his career if he wants to do this all the time now. But what I really do hope is that his story will inspire a lot of other young men, and I do mean young men, to go out and do this. I would like to see 100 Nick Shirleys out there. I would like to see 1,000 Nick Shirleys out there. There's so many stories all over the country that need to get covered. And we need an army of people out there doing it. And I think that Nick Shirley's work has spoken for itself, and the success that he has had has spoken for itself. And I do think the content that he puts out, it doesn't require a lot of commentary. It's just very good, solid content that helps people easily understand what's going on. And one of the reasons that I've never been afraid of competition among other people who are exposing stories that need to be exposed, or among other independent journalists. I've never felt a lot of independent journalists. I think they feel like they're in competition with other independent journalists. I've never actually felt like that because there's so many stories that need to get covered. And I really do believe there's more than enough content for everyone. But the thing of it is a lot of people, they don't want to hunt for the story. They just want the story handed to them. So a lot of people will only cover something if it goes viral on Twitter. What you need to do is be there before it goes viral on Twitter. Nick Shirley was there before it went viral on Twitter, and that's why it's blown up. It's not about him coming in after the fact and covering it, although I've seen him do that as well, but he was there before it went viral. And that's the place where people need to be, is this is my opinion, hunting down the story, getting to know the area that you're in. Just do this in your geographic region, whatever you might be interested in. If it's investigating fraud from the government, do that. If it's going into doing far left stuff and going undercover with far left groups, do that. Do whatever it is, but you have to get ahead of when it goes viral on Twitter, because that's where the story really is. That puts you at the tip of the spear. And we need tons more people out there doing that. We don't need more people covering shit that's already been covered. You know what I'm saying? There are so many people out there who are not doing any real journalism, Andy No, who are only covering stories that go viral on Twitter, Andy No, that are not out there on the ground actually investigating things and actually looking at what's coming next, Andy No. There are so many stories out there that need to get covered before they become a big thing, but people think the only place to make money and be successful is to cover the stuff that's already gone viral and to go with the news cycle. One of the things I appreciate about Nick Shirley is he's there ahead of the story. And we need so many more people like that. And by the way, that's where the good stuff is, and that's when it's really exciting. And I say that as someone who I feel like I've been ahead of when things go viral many, many times, more times than you might think. And it's cool, man. It's cool. It is cool to be the person that breaks the story. It is cool to be the first to report on something. It is cool to be like, I was doing the anti-ICE like coverage for months and months and months leading up to June when all the shit hit the fan with the riots in Los Angeles. It was so fucking cool to see stuff I had been working on blow up almost instantly overnight. And to be one of the people that people came to because they knew I'd been covering this stuff for a while. And so I hope there are millions of people that get inspired by him. I hope there are tons of young men that follow in his footsteps. And I'm excited to watch this. I've kind of waited to watch this because I wanted to watch it on stream. We are going to watch his full investigation of the Somali daycare fraud. And bro, just so you know, I don't allow this all caps bullshit on my channel. There's one person that is allowed to use all caps in my chat, and it's not you. So tone down on the all caps. I don't like it. People on the channel don't like it. We keep a nice environment for everyone. We have 2 rules in my chat, guys. If you're new, number 1, don't be a dick. Number 2, no whining. And if we all, just relax, everyone will have a good time. All right, let me get this sound set up. And let's get this party started. Everyone make sure you mount the like button for me if you would be so kind. And let's see what Nick Shirley found. 118 million views. God damn. 118 million views. Good for him, bro. Good for him.
There's no children inside this building. Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota, as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-ran fraudulent businesses. So much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia, like the Al-Shabaab, and others enriched themselves all at the U.S. taxpayers' expense. And in this video, we will break down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government.
Cynthia's here. Cynthia's here. Cynthia, I miss saying hi to you on movie night. I saw you in there, so make sure you come back to movie night. I hope you come and join us again. Cynthia, thank you for the 5 gifted channel memberships. Congrats to everyone who got a channel membership from Queen Cynthia of the chat. Appreciate it as always.
Also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked. How deep is this fraud here inside of Minnesota?
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud, and I would see these childcare centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day.
Hey, we got another 5 channel memberships from Aesthetic Fail. Thank you for the channel memberships, bro. Really do appreciate it. Congrats to everyone who got a gifted channel membership from Aesthetic Fail. And guys, remember, we are going to start doing spy streams again in the new year. So make sure for everyone who's getting a channel membership today, make sure you join us for a spy stream, and you can find information about that when they happen. And I don't usually announce those much ahead of time. So you just got to pay attention to what's going on. I will post it in the community or post tab, and hope you can join us for those in the future.
Guy standing out front smoking. And then I'd go by another daycare and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there. Then I started to see all these transportation companies going around, and it was always a Somali driver. And I said, well, that's great. They're out there transportation contributing, but they never had a passenger, never, ever once. And I said, well, what is all this transportation? What are they doing? So then I found out that in Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. So this is going to the dentist's office, therapy, whatever it might be. And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali owned.
I just want to point out as we get into this, and again, I haven't watched this because I wanted to wait to watch it on stream, but I just want to mention The work that this guy has probably done to unravel this whole thing has probably been tireless, has probably been painstaking, has probably been absolutely thankless. This guy that Nick Shirley is working with has probably been investigating this stuff for years and years and years. He has figured out every single connection. He's gone into all the corners. He's had this all documented. And I'm going to bet you that this guy has tried to tell people in government that this is happening for years. I'm going to bet you that this guy has tried to tell everyone and their mother that this has been happening for years. And I'm going to bet you that this guy has been ignored at every single turn when he has tried to blow the whistle on this before. And then, thank God, he ends up getting connected with Nick Shirley at some point, and Nick Shirley can make the whole thing go viral, right? But like, the painstaking work that this guy has probably done is just like, I hope this is true. I really do hope that this guy is getting a lot of credit for what he's doing, and it's not just all going to Nick Shirley. And listen, again, I think Nick Shirley should have full credit for this, but the fact is that Nick Shirley wouldn't have had a story if this guy hadn't been doing all of this just because he did it.
Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
So right here, we have all this paperwork. And how are you getting all this information about the fraud?
A lot of it is through my own research. And then I have some contacts at the Capitol going back many, many years. And so the data that I'm getting is 100% accurate, coming directly from research done by people at the state Capitol.
All this paperwork right here, what are we looking at?
The areas of fraud that I have numbers for are mostly related to childcare. This is massive fraud that is beyond anyone's imagination, the scope. And so, for example, there's a childcare not far from here in Minneapolis that has two childcares listed at the same address. And together, they're licensed supposedly for 120 children. I have never seen a single child there ever. And I've been by that place at least 100 times.
That's so crazy.
These Somalians, these groups are setting up these daycares, these childcare centers, getting money from the government, but there's no kids.
No kids. Never had any of them. They're all fraught with violations. And even though they have these violations, they're still in operation and they're still getting money. And it's millions of dollars for every one of them every year.
And who's getting the money? And where are they getting the money from?
So we have a thing called CCAP. It's a blend of federal and state money. The bottom line is it's taxpayer money. So it's state money and it's federal money. And the problem is the people at the state of Minnesota are the ones writing the checks. This is kind of the maddening thing is you have daycare. So you have adult daycare, and then you have child care, and then you have health care. And a lot of these same names keep coming up on all of these different types of businesses. And then, of course, we have the transportation. And a lot of those same names appear, a lot of the same addresses. There's one building that has 14 Somali healthcare companies at the same address. There's another building in St. Paul that has 22 Somali healthcare businesses at the same address.
And the government knows about this.
The government knows they're writing the checks. Yeah, the Democrats over there just writing the checks. What has happened is that the Somali community is a very closed community. They will not speak to anyone outside the community and talk about what's going on within the community. They vote as a block. And so when you're a politician, you're saying, look, I've got 100,000 people in Minnesota that if I do something for the community, they're going to vote for me. And that's what it's all about, is getting the votes. And then the people here in Minnesota, you hear this term, Minnesota nice. I'm so sick of that term. The people here are so afraid of being called a racist or an Islamophobe.
Yep.
And they're afraid of their own shadow. And I don't understand. This is our future generations are going to have to pay for all this fraud. And they just want to bury their heads in the sand and go on and just not worry about it. Tim Wall's saying there's organized crime in Minnesota. What did he do about it? Nothing. You got organized crime? What are you doing? This is the Minnesota law, which mandates that anyone who knows of fraud and is a state employee must report that fraud. It's Minnesota Statute 3.971, Subdivision 9. Not only that, but Walls is also guilty of misconduct of a public employee. When I look at the world as a whole and I look at fraud, the Twin Cities is ground zero. The fraud is worse here than any.
By the way, do you guys remember where I told you that anti-racist action started? This is actually, again, this is just an interesting coincidence. I'm not sure I'm not sure these two things are connected. But when I was talking about anti-racist action earlier, when I was talking about this, the precursor to Antifa in the United States, where did that start? That started in Minneapolis. Do you guys want to know where militant queer Marxism in America really had a lot of its origin? In the Midwest, in Milwaukee, in Chicago, in Minneapolis, in Indiana. There was a whole Midwest corridor in which militant queer activism developed. Where is all this Somali fraud taking place? Minneapolis. Again, I don't know that there's a connection between those two things, but there is a lot more leftist activism in the Midwest than people think. And it's been the source of a lot of crazy ideas. And people all think this stuff comes out of New York and Seattle and San Francisco. And some of it certainly does. St. Floyd, Minneapolis, George Floyd, fucking Minneapolis. What? Minneapolis, Minnesota, of like all places. What is it about Minneapolis, Minnesota that makes it like just an epicenter of like crazy shit? And not just over the course of a couple of years, over the course of like decades and decades and decades and decades and decades. That's an interesting question. I don't know the answer to that. What is it about Minneapolis, Minnesota specifically? And by the way, the public universities in Minnesota are completely fucked. They are extremely far left. Like all the DEI shit, all the queer ideology shit, that is all throughout the University of Minnesota. I know it because I've looked into it. That's just an interesting question. I don't know the answer to it. Got a couple super chats. Let me see. Cynthia in with the $20 super chat for the Nick and David Following Fund. People who do what David does are amazing citizens. He's done the Lord's work, and good for him. Now do we understand why Kamala picked Walz? I mean, maybe, Latrina. That's a really fair point. Really fair point.
Anywhere else ever in history, anywhere.
We're going to go confront these people. We're going to go to these daycare centers. We're going to see what's actually happening.
Okay, so we have to be careful because these people are very violent. They're exceptionally violent.
Now, with all of David's evidence, we headed out to the streets of Minneapolis to see how much fraud we could uncover in one afternoon. Where are we going now?
We're going to a place called Mako Childcare, which actually has another childcare registered at the same address called Mini Child Care Center.
So we should see lots of children if there's this child care center, especially if there's two.
The two of them combined are licensed for 120.
And how much money have these child care centers received?
None of those vans have moved in 6 months. None of them. In 2020, one of them received $1.3 million. In 2021, they got $987,000. In 2022, they got $714,000. That's the last I have for that one. And then the other one, $1.604 million in fiscal year 2025. Fiscal year 2024, they got about $800,000. And in fiscal year 2023, they got $904,059. This place right here. Yes.
We're outside of it.
Well, this is actually two daycares are registered here. One of them is Mako, which you see on the sign. The other one is Mini Child Care Center. And between the two of these child care centers, they're pulling in about $3 million a year.
Wow.
And there are no children. Every facility that you go to, the windows will be blocked out so you can't see in.
How do I get $3 million a year of government funding? Can we like crowdsource this real quick? How can I get $3 million? Do you guys know how much I could accomplish with $3 million a year of government funding? Can't we? Isn't there some sort of special government grant or something, or some sort of government program where I could be like, I am fighting terrorism in the United States. Can you guys please fund this shit? There's got to be something. If anyone has any, if fucking Somalis can figure out how to get $3 million a year of government funding to go to an imaginary daycare, and no one ever calls them out on it, and no one ever figures it out. You guys are way smarter than Somalis, okay? Almost like every fucking white person, no offense, is smarter than Somalis. Can we all just put our heads together and figure out how to get me $3 million of government funding every year? That would be really great.
There's nobody here. You won't see a single child at any of these facilities.
There are indeed no windows. All the windows are blacked out right here. All right, let's go in. And the child care center is locked. Should we ring the doorbell? Yeah. Try to get in, ring the doorbell. Nobody showed up. They're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. it says here on their sign, yet there's absolutely nobody here. And this building here, right here, has generated millions of dollars, and it seems like business isn't even open right now, and it's a weekday. And if this was a daycare center, it wouldn't just be in some industrialized building. There would be maybe like a playground or something outside. Or
there's no play area for the kids. So where are the kids? Where's anybody? How can there be nobody here? And it's like this every single day. I've never seen a single child here. In 9 years, I've never seen a single child at this building. Right there.
Oh, then now it looks like we already got the Somalis coming through.
Yeah, they're coming. The word's out.
Hello, is this your daycare?
No. Can you tell us why there are no children? Have you ever seen children at this child care center?
Doesn't know if she's ever seen a child here. All right, let's go to the next location. Now we're going to the next daycare center. How much money has this one generated?
This one, in fiscal year 2025, $1,042,059. In fiscal year 2024, $1,059,078. And in fiscal year 2023, $727,336.
This next one is literally
Somali childcare
one block
center
away,
for
and this one's
studies.
also generated nearly $3 million in the past 3 years. Let's see if there's any children. Let's see if any of the buildings are open. Here we go. All right, we've arrived to ABC Learning Center. All the windows are blacked out. Let's see if anybody is here. This door is locked.
This facility is licensed for 40 children.
Crazy.
0 children.
You have been
I've come by this place 100 times. I've never seen a child here, ever. The only thing I've ever seen is someone standing outside smoking.
What's crazy about this is that last daycare center is that green building right there. And the other daycare center right now is right here. These buildings should be operating as they're receiving literally millions of dollars. I knocked on the door, and to my surprise, somebody actually answered the door. Hello? Can we speak? I would like to check a child in the daycare. Can I speak to a manager? Where can I get paperwork to file for my son? I wanted to put my son Joey in daycare. And after a few questions, the lady went silent. Looks like little Joey Shirley ain't going to daycare here. And now we're
Joey Shirley ain't going to daycare, but Cynthia's gifting out some more channel memberships. Thanks so much, Cynthia, for your generous donations. We appreciate it. Congrats to everyone who got a channel membership.
Where are we going?
Now we're going to Sweet Angel Childcare.
We're in the middle of a strip mall here inside of this neighborhood.
In fiscal year 2025, this facility, which says it's licensed for 74 kids, was paid $1.26 million in tax money. And there are no kids. And all the facilities are the same way. All of them.
Let's see if anyone opens.
I could, Malcolm.
Once again, I try to find a spot for my son Joey, and they would not open the door. I want to put my son Joey in daycare. Cuz I need a spot to put my son Joey.
Yes.
Is this your daycare center?
No, I work there. What's happened?
I just want to put a child in daycare, but all the daycare centers seem to be closed. No one's opening the doors.
You work here?
I was, yeah. What's happened?
Where are the kids?
Yeah.
It says it's licensed for 74 children. Right here, state of Minnesota. Where are the kids? They got paid $1.26 million in fiscal year 2025. It says they have a capacity for 74 children.
When?
Where are the kids? Right here. State of Minnesota website. You work here and you don't know?
I don't know. I was there before. I don't know what's going on.
Were there any kids when you worked here?
He's there. Kids there.
How many?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
You worked here. Okay, well, then you're not of any help.
Can I put my son in a daycare here?
No, I don't know.
Can I speak to someone?
No, I don't know.
No? Yeah, I would like to see if I can put my son Joey here.
Who's your son, Joey?
My son Joey. Can I check out daycare center?
My son. No! You're a liar. I'm the owner.
Do you put your kid here in this daycare?
No.
There is one child in there. Yeah, I'd like to know if this is a legit business.
Me, I'm scared of you too. How come I explain everything?
You're scared of me?
Yeah.
Why?
So you're scared.
Because of my color. You said you're scared of me because of my color. Does that make you a racist?
Yeah, no.
But
No.
You said you're scared of me because of my color.
I'm not saying you're racist.
You said you're scared of me because of my color. That makes you a racist. So right now they're all getting mad because he's showing the paper.
Okay, so I'm going to explain something real quick because I know exactly what all the newbies are saying in the chat. Karlyn, you said this had nothing to do with skin color. I mean, it obviously has to do with skin color. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, Padwins. Oh no. You think this has to do with skin color? First of all, we have to separate out a couple of things. Number one, African bullshit is significantly different than radical, revolutionary, far-left activism in America. So you don't take the definitions from the Somali immigrants who don't speak English because this is a different problem. All of the stuff you see in South Africa where they're announcing that they want to kill white people, that is a real thing. And they do literally mean white people. They do. They mean when the Africans say white skin whiteness, they mean white skin color. This is very, very clear. What people need to understand is what the Africans are saying is different than what the American far left is saying. These are two fundamentally different things. I don't believe that this is actually connected to the radical revolutionary far left in America beyond the fact that the trickle-down Democrat government that they have in Minnesota is giving them funding. Now, when Tim Walz says whiteness, white supremacy, he is not referring to skin color. He is referring to the system, the systemically racist system that is oppressing the poor Africans, and he's using that as justification for why the state needs to give them money because it is about equity, and it will be a systemic problem if you don't fund them and a systemic problem if you take the money away from them. Does everyone understand the difference? No. We don't speak in retard here. No. Your feelings don't fucking matter. We don't speak in retard here. I am trying to painstakingly explain to you the difference. This is your IQ test. Are you smart enough to follow what I am saying? Do you know the difference between white American and black Africans? That is really the question, bro. Do you understand that there is a difference between the culture and the language used by white Americans and black fucking Somali Africans? If you don't understand that, you're not smart enough to be here. So does everyone oh no, you just broke the rules of the chat. You just failed the IQ test. IQ test failure. Bye, bro. Enjoy your permanent ban. Bye. Does anyone have any intelligent questions to ask about what I just explained? It can both be true that the black African is talking about skin color, and also be true that Tim Walz is not talking about skin color. He's talking about systemic racism, or the system that upholds racism, which is capitalism. Oh no, you just broke the rules of my chat. Oh no, you're not smart enough to be here. Get the fuck out, asshole. Bye, permanent ban. Did I not state clearly at the beginning of the stream that there are two rules in my chat? Number one, don't be a dick. That means you don't insult me. You don't insult other people in my audience. I can do whatever the fuck I want because you're in my house. If you don't like the rules, you can get the fuck out and go somewhere else. I don't really care. But if you're going to be a dick in my chat, I'm going to permanently ban you because you're obviously failing the IQ test because you're not smart enough to be here. Number two, no whining. I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't give a flying fuck about your feelings. If you want someone to coddle your feelings, go over to Fox News, go over to the Daily Wire, go get down on your knees and suck off Bibi Netanyahu for all I give a fuck. But you're not going to get your feelings coddled here. If you don't like it, get out. No one's forcing you to be here. Okay, looks like everyone else is following. And Cynthia just sent me money for telling you guys off. I hope you understand that. Cynthia loves to reward me for telling off retards in my chat. And since Cynthia is the one funding my work today and the retards in the chat are not funding my work, I'm going to do what Cynthia wants me to do, which is to tell off retards in my chat when they're being retards. Thank you, Cynthia. Congrats to everyone who got a channel membership. Appreciate it. For the high IQ skills, McCarlin Center, because the low IQ learning skills isn't teaching basic English skills. Totally, Andre. Thanks for the super chat.
Of this business, being registered as a business. 74 children, no children. We saw one child when the lady opened up the door. So now they're all getting mad.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Ask the owner. I'm the kids.
Well, then why are you talking for the owner if you're telling me to talk to the owner?
I'm sorry. I'm not understand what you're talking about.
Do you have a child here?
No.
Does anybody?
No.
Where are the 74 kids? Did you lose them? Did you lose these kids? Do I need to call someone? Do I need to issue an Amber Alert for missing children?
Nope.
Are these children missing? It's not my business that children are missing. 74 infants and toddlers, preschool.
The proof's right there. There's no children anywhere.
It's from the state of Minnesota right here.
I think we're moving on to the next location.
Wow.
Have a good day. As we continue to show the blatant fraud that was taking place here in Minnesota, Somalis started following us around the city. And now we're being followed by the Somalis. This is another daycare center, absolutely no signage, and there's no footprints in the snow of children playing outside. $5 million within the past
5.9 million in 2 years. 5.9 million they received in 2 years. That facility right there.
And now we have a group of Somalis telling us in our vehicle right now. From this daycare center, we headed over to the infamous Quality Learning Center, which actually spells Quality Leering Center on the outside of their sign. That's how blatant this fraud is here.
Holy
at this
shit.
daycare.
Holy shit. They have the sign wrong. Oh. One in the chat if we should be deporting all Somalis back to Somalia. 2 in the chat if you want the Somalis to stay. 1 in the chat if we should be deporting all Somalis. 2 in the chat if you want all Somalis to stay. Yeah, I think I might have to do that, Malcolm. I think I might have to do that. You might be right.
Side of their sign. That's how blatant this fraud is here at this daycare. So this is Quality Leering Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They said they spelt learning wrong.
Don't open up.
How do you have ice here, ma'am? I'm literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up.
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up. We have ice.
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children
Don't open up.
and getting $4 million over the
Open up. It's ice.
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Wow. Go away.
What do you think about that? Are you in favor? Are you in favor of that?
Now, that crazy lady right there, that crazy lady, that is a good old hippie leftist activist. That woman was a hippie. That woman's been on the left her entire life. That woman has been deeply ingrained in far left activism because that woman is doing exactly what they teach them to do in the anti-ICE organizing trainings, which is to put herself in between the evil capitalists that are coming to oppress them by deporting them and all that stuff, and the actual immigrants, warning them to stay inside. They train them for what to say when ICE shows up at their door and stuff like that. So that woman in particular, she's a good little leftist. She's probably read some zines, all that stuff.
Go away. You're not welcome here.
Are you-
Shame on you.
Are you in favor of $1.9 million going illegally, fraudulently to this business that has Quality Learning Center but can't even spell learning right on the door?
Don't open up.
Ma'am, we are not ICE.
I don't care who you are. You don't belong here.
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up. It's ice.
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children in here at this building, but there's no one here. This is a child daycare center.
99 children. Paid $1.9 million this year in CCAP funding. Do you know where the children are? Were they kidnapped? They run away? Where are the children? This is state of Minnesota. Right here.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
And who are you with?
Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Yeah, so who are you with here?
Oh, he's just been doing some research investigating the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with Nick Shirley.
This lady, she's calling us ICE. We're just trying to put law and order back in the streets of the United States. Get rid of all the fraud. Have you ever seen children at that daycare center right there?
Where?
Yeah, it's right there. It says the child. You've never seen daycare.
I haven't seen anybody in there.
We're going to educate you on something. So what do you think about this daycare center? They spelled learning wrong. They've received over $1.9 million this year alone, and they're supposed to have 99 children here.
I don't see it.
Children.
Have you ever seen any children here?
None, not at all. None.
This year they got 1.9 million. Last year they got 1.5 million of your tax money for 99 children. We just want to know where are the kids?
Right.
Where are the children?
I don't see them. I've been here since 2017. I haven't seen anybody like
Never
that
seen
here.
a child here.
No, not at all.
And so you've
8
never
years.
seen a child here for 8 years?
Nope, not at all.
And how does that make you feel knowing that this place is receiving $1.9 million?
Disgusting. I mean, what the hell? They stealing the money. That's a federal grant too. That's, if they get caught for that's a federal offense. I know I studied law.
And do you think Tim Walz should go to jail for all the fraud that he's enabled here in his state?
That's him doing this? Well, heck yeah. He's got to be held accountable for this. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason what's going on here. It's simple. It's nothing there. It's a parking lot.
And look, they even spelled learning wrong on their sign for a place that's supposed to be educating children.
That's crazy. I mean, who runs it? Who supposedly runs it?
Somalians.
Oh my God. Well, where? Yeah, it's just, I've never seen nobody here at all.
So how long have you been living here?
Since 2017.
You've never seen a single child walk in that building?
No, not at all.
So this daycare center is literally just a place to traffic money. $1.9 million just this year alone. And this guy's been living here for 8 years.
So
and has never
crazy.
seen a single
so
child walk
fucking
through those
crazy.
doors. There's no windows either.
No.
And the only window they do have, the door, is blacked out.
Yep, I see that. I've never seen anybody go in there.
Within just a few hours, we nearly approached $20 million in fraud, and we headed over to George Floyd's neighborhood to expose more of the fraud taking place.
This place is called Future Leaders Early Learning.
I just want to point something out because, like, okay, this might go without saying, but people are dumb, and so I'm going to say it. When Nick Shirley is going into these situations and he's talking to people, he's not getting aggressive with them. He's not yelling at them. He's not, he is allowing them to make all the mistakes. And I think people might underestimate how difficult it is to not react because you really can't. You can ask them questions and stuff like that, but you have to do it just very even keeled to get the other person to react to you. And so, like, I'm saying this because, again, like I said at the beginning, I really do hope that this type of thing inspires a ton of people to follow in Nick Shirley's footsteps and do exactly what he's doing. But I think that people need to, like, you really need to master your emotions when you're in that sort of situation. You have to have very high impulse control. Like, I mean, how I behave on the internet is not how I would behave if I was doing something like this at an event. And I think it's very important that people know that, because the reason that Nick Shirley is so successful at what he's doing is that he doesn't become the provocateur. He doesn't put himself in the story necessarily unless he is put in the story by someone else. And this is really important. Like, if you look at what's gone on outside of the ICE facility in Portland, there used to be a whole bunch of journalists outside the ICE facility in Portland that would literally just be there and record. And if Antifa attacked them, then they would become part of the story, but they were just standing there recording. And then you had a whole bunch of MAGA retards show up, deliberately trying to provoke Antifa all the time. And it was like, when it crossed the line from documentation into ongoing, perpetual, never-ending provocation, with more and more retards showing up to just provoke them, our side lost the entire high ground when we did that, because it's like now there's so many videos out there of MAGA people trying to start fights with Antifa. There's so many videos out there of MAGA people just blatantly destroying things that they were doing where it wasn't actually really harmful what they were doing. I can understand wanting to feel like you got one over on people. I really do. But it's like when you're doing stuff like this, you have to maintain the high road, because if you don't, it will be used against you, and it will be. And I say this as someone who I've made my share of mistakes as well, man. I can be a fucking hothead, but you have to learn from those mistakes, and you have to learn what works, and you have to learn what doesn't.
Learning Center, and it's licensed for 90 children. And in fiscal year 2025, they received $3.6 million. In fiscal year 2024, they received $3 million. So in 2 years, they got $6.67 million, claiming they have 90 children every day of the week, 5 days a week. So let's
These
find
people
out.
are making just about more money than
Hey, thank you
NBA
for the super
athletes.
chat. I appreciate it.
And we don't even know if they're paying taxes, but we don't know where
Thank
this
you,
money
they're
is
not.
going. Is it going to terrorism? Where is it going?
We
But
have to pay
it's theft,
taxes.
it's
They don't have
fraud.
to pay taxes.
And the reason I'm involved is I want it to stop. I care about Minnesota. I'm doing this for the people of Minnesota. I don't make a dime off all this time I've spent on this. I put my life at risk several times, but I'm determined to see this through and to correct what is wrong, what is evil.
Here at Future Leaders Early Learning Center, this building received over $3 million. Hello, how are you? I would like to see if I could bring little Joey, my son, little Joey here. Is there paperwork, or can I check out the daycare? No. Why can't I check out the daycare? Okay, but if I can I get paperwork or anything to submit my son, little Joey, to come in here to daycare? We'd really like to put Joey in this daycare. We've heard great things.
Business card?
No, I would like your business card, actually.
Business card?
You talk to your manager.
Okay, can I speak with somebody? Where are the children at? Are there children here today?
No.
No children.
Yes.
Why are there no children?
You're two of Mexico.
Would my son, little Joey, have friends to play with here? No. No friends for little Joey.
Yes. Sorry.
Dang it. Well, have a great rest of your day. So little Joey would not be accepted to that daycare.
Joey's still homeless.
Joey's still looking for daycare. And because little Joey couldn't get into a daycare, we went to an autism center, as they have been popping up everywhere as a rise of autism has occurred here in Minnesota because of the government funds that they're receiving. I tried to check my son Joey into an autism center. We've been going to a lot of these daycare centers. We're trying to find a spot for our little boy Joey, but we thought maybe we could check him into the autism center because none of the daycare centers are open. Yeah, and how many kids do you guys have at this autism center?
I can't give you a number now.
Like more than 5?
Probably.
Probably, so you don't really know.
Probably more than 5.
What do you guys think about like the fraud that's been labeled on the autism centers here? What do you guys do think about the fraud, or how come the autism centers are popping up?
I can't answer.
What news? Are you a news reporter?
My name's Nick. We're doing a little documentary trying to find little Joey a spot to put himself in one of these centers here, because there's
So why are you asking us about
the fraud. Yeah, because we want to make sure we're going to legit business if we're going to bring our little boy Joey here.
This is not a Joey spot. Yeah. But that's her number on the other phone. But this is we can't let you guys do so.
Okay, thank you. So once again, little Joey, he can't even go to daycare, and now they won't even accept him if he has autism.
And again, no kids. Couldn't tell you how many kids they serve.
After being able to provide no evidence of them actually being an autism center and a place where a child could go, they shut the door and we headed to the next fraudulent daycare center that was just around the corner.
We're on to the next location. We're still trying to find little Joey a place to go to get some daycare.
So where we're going now is a place called Super Kids Daycare Center. Interestingly, this daycare center was shut down when it was called Creative Minds Daycare, and it had received $2.45 million this fiscal year, 2025. They had to shut down because there were so many violations, and they went and they just reopened under a new license, and they renamed the center Super Kids Daycare Center LLC.
So they got shut down, then started another one.
Literally the next day.
Creative Minds Daycare, $2.45 million got sent to this daycare center. We have empty parking lot. We do have a bus here. This is different. We'll see if we see anybody.
I knocked on the door. Absolutely nobody was inside. And once again, no children could be heard anywhere.
So David, once again, another child daycare center. We have a bus out here. No one's inside. Licensed for over 50 kids. No children anywhere. But yet, millions of dollars every single year.
So the sign says Creative Minds Daycare. They got in so much trouble. They had so many violations that they had to shut down, and they reopened the next day under Super Kids Daycare Center. You see 3801 Portland, 3801 Portland, which is where we are.
So that's fraud right there alone.
Millions and millions of dollars. And again, the kids are missing. Where are the kids?
You'd think if they had the same address, that whoever's inside or working at the Capitol here inside of Minnesota would just say, oh, maybe that's a red flag.
They just write the check. Human Services, they got to clean out the whole bunch. They're the ones who enabled this fraud. How can you not look and say, wait a minute, these two are registered at the same address?
On top of all of the childcare centers, that's just only a small piece of the fraud. What other fraud are they committing here in Minnesota?
So another major piece of the fraud is the home health care industry. Where we're going now is a building that has 14 Somali-owned home healthcare companies in the same building.
14 of the same healthcare companies in one building.
14 home healthcare companies with different names in the same building.
How bad has Tim Walz managed the budget here inside of Minnesota?
So the last biennium, we had an $18 billion surplus. This biennium, we have a $6 billion deficit. That's a $24 billion swing in one biennium. How in the world can you burn through $24 billion in 2 years? This is how, right here. This is a huge part of it.
And so would you say a lot of that is fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Yes.
Absolutely. I would say better than 90% of it is absolute outright fraud.
And a large percentage of this fraud is from these healthcare companies that are charging the state millions of dollars while they actually aren't providing anything. In fact, the FBI just did a raid a few days ago on a building similar to the one we are about to enter. Inside of this building, there were 14 of nearly the exact same businesses offering the exact same services.
Right here, you have a list of all of the healthcare companies. Loads of them right here. We want healthcare. Yes, we'd like to speak about getting healthcare here. No. Why can't I get healthcare here?
No, wait.
Warning, you are under video surveillance. No trespassing, security armed.
Wow.
This is the strangest place I've ever been to get healthcare. Just a bunch of different places. Healthcare here, healthcare right here. Another healthcare company right here. There are 3 healthcare companies inside of this building right here in this room of 7C. Now we have another Helping Hands, Home Care LLC, another healthcare company. Present Help right here. We're looking for the best rates of healthcare here inside this building because we have so many options. Who can we talk about getting the best healthcare?
I don't know.
No?
Sorry.
All right. We will not get any healthcare here. David, this is one of the stranger places I've ever been. Literally, healthcare every door you go to, yet nobody will give you a rate. How much money do you think has been funneled through this building?
Every year, I would say 50 to 60 million at least.
And finally, we were accepted into one of the daycare centers, and they actually took down our information to give us a rate. However, when we left, we were then met with the police.
We received a complaint that gentleman mentioning your description, we're in this building harassing the individuals who stay here.
Oh, we're just seeing.
They called the cops on them. The gall, hang on, I'll get your super chat in a second. The gall of these fucking Somali immigrants is unbelievable. And yet I'm not surprised by any of it, but it's just like these fucking people have some nerve. And quite frankly, the fact that Trump has not rolled buses into fucking Minnesota and just started loading, get like here is what I want to have happen. And let me know if you guys agree with me in the chat. I want very heavily armed men to go, all wearing masks and carrying big fucking guns, to go into the Somali communities in Minnesota, round up literally every fucking Somali immigrant, put them on a fucking bus, drive them to some concentration camp that they have set up. I want all the I very literally want to send the Somalis to concentration camps. I'm not joking. I want a camp where all of the Somalis are concentrated in one single area. Get them the fuck away from everything, and then you just start deporting their asses. You deport them as quickly as possible. You get one of those big fucking cargo planes, you load them all on the back of a cargo plane, you fly their asses back to Somalia, you say, get the fuck off the plane, and then you fly back. And we don't let them back in the country. One in the chat if you agree with my plan of sending heavily armed men into Minnesota to round up every fucking Somali immigrant, putting them in a concentration camp, getting them out of polite society, putting them in one area, and then as quickly as possible, putting their asses on a plane back to fucking Somalia. And I don't care what any judge says, and I don't care what any fucking court says. I want them to get the fuck out and go back to Africa. 2 in the chat if you think I've gone too far. 1 in the chat if you agree. Oh, we have a super chat. Hang on. Old Sub Sailor says there's a report that $1 million was donated by a daycare center in Minneapolis to a Somali activist running for office in Seattle. Money laundering, anyone? I bet a lot of politicians are getting rich off this fraud. Yep. I would agree.
Checking out the rates for healthcare because there's 14 healthcare companies inside this building. So
Well, that's not what he said. He said there's 14 companies here, and he's trying to assume because they're Somali providers, everyone here is fraudulent.
Okay. So
he's here with some kind of like propaganda.
No, we're just checking.
No, this is a area that we're allowed to enforce trespassing ordinance. Is there any other reason that you guys are here?
Well, we were checking rates.
No, he's not.
We were checking rates. We asked for rates.
No, you're not.
Okay. I'm gonna have, if you guys are all good, we're gonna step outside and we can continue this conversation.
All right, let's leave. So, all right, we're getting escorted out right now. The police have arrived. We were checking out the rates, seeing what was happening inside this building. No one would really speak with us. We did go inside the one daycare center, and she actually did give us rates for childcare. Much respect to that lady. What's the problem, officer?
Well, so again, we've been getting reports from multiple individuals that you guys were harassing individuals who work here. At the end of the day, this is private property, and it's one that people are allowed to ask you to leave, and it's also one the Minneapolis Police Department is allowed to enforce trespassing ordinance at this address.
Yeah.
So
as we got escorted out of this building, the Somalis filmed us as we left, and we headed over to the next building that had 22 of the same home health care providers operating from inside of the building.
Right here you have multicultural home care. And right here it says it's open, but can't even get in. Another Reliance Recovery Center. Mercy and Grace Care, Inc. Right here you have Den Eritrean Youth Development Association of Minnesota. Another
Eritrea.
childcare center.
Oh, good.
Welcome to Bright Beginning Center. But what do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Sorry. No comments. Can I please?
Right here, you have Serenity Quality Care. All of these businesses are literally the same type of business, providing the same service in the same building. Another Convenience Home Healthcare Aid Inc. and Child Friendly Space. All these companies get money from the government. Why would you have the same company essentially inside of the same building, door to door? Right here, Queenly Home Healthcare. It just does not make sense. If you're trying to operate a business, you'd want to have less competition. But here, they have all of their competition right next door. We're wondering, because we hear there's lots of fraud taking place here in Minnesota, and we're wondering, why is there so many of the same companies inside of this same building?
No, I don't know that.
What do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't have any idea about that fraud. Okay?
Mhm.
That's it.
What do you think about the news articles and what's being spread on the news about the fraud?
Right now, you are doing something wrong.
I'm just asking
Hey,
you about the fraud.
thank you, Wolf, for the 5 gifted channel memberships. I really do appreciate it, my friend. Congrats to everyone who got a channel membership from Wolf.
Don't ask me that question again.
Okay. Who can I speak to?
Don't ask me that question
Who
again.
can I speak to? Okay. As soon as you confront about the fraud, they get angry. When these people have these home healthcare companies, you're seeing them everywhere inside this building. What kind of fraud are they committing?
So there's false documentation being submitted to the state of Minnesota for services never provided. They're having forms signed in advance for services that were then never rendered. As far as a year or 2 years in advance, they'll have someone sign these forms at one sitting, and then they just file those with the state of Minnesota, and nobody from the state of Minnesota bothers to check that those services were ever provided.
So they're essentially just using people saying that they had these services provided months or even years ago, then filing the paperwork and then receiving money from the government.
Right, and the Somali community is a very closed community, so everybody's in on it, and they don't want to talk, as you can see.
And for this building, I'm going to give an estimate of around $30 million for how much fraud is taking place. That is a very low estimate. However, still a lot of money in fraud.
And do you think there is fraud taking place here? I don't know. Yeah. Do you have any idea what any of these businesses are doing?
I never ask.
And now, with upwards of $100 million in fraud, we headed to one more daycare. And this one gets a little spicy as we get chased out at the very end. And after this, we'll be heading to the state capitol to confront the incompetent government leaders who have enabled this fraud to happen.
And I knew this video was going to be super dangerous to film because of obviously how hostile it is, and as we are exposing legit fraud happening. I did get security for this video, and I was able to do it through the Black Line Guardian. And if you guys want to help fund my security in the future, you can go down to the link down below. They're not paying me to say any of this. They came and decided to help me out for this video. So you can go to Black Line Guardian, the link's down below, and click Guardian for Nick, and those funds will directly go to my security in future videos as we are exposing lots of things happening, especially with this fraud. Like I said, they're not sponsoring this video. I'm just giving them a shout out because of how they helped me. So go down to the link down
really
below,
nice that
click
they
Guardian
did that.
for Nick, and let's keep going. And now we're going to the next location. Now, this child daycare center, this one's different than all the other ones we've been to. Tell us about this one.
This one is different because, according to the state of Minnesota, this 312 West Lake Street houses not one, not two, but 3 child care centers and is licensed to hold 102 children. And in fiscal year 2025 was paid $2.66 million by the state of Minnesota.
And this is the building right here. So this building alone made $2.6 million. Let's see if anybody's inside. Now we're inside of the building where there's apparently 4 childcare centers.
We met this lady and we followed her to the back of the building where the daycare was supposedly at.
So right here we have 2 child daycare centers. We have the Minnesota Child Care Center, and then we also have Nuna. Between the two, $2.66 million. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Why are you recording?
Yes. We would like to know.
Well, it says we're trying to figure out 102 children. Is that for this facility?
What is the name? Do I see the
It's from the state of Minnesota website. It says you have 102 children here in your child care.
Which child care names? A lot of
Minnesota Child Care right here. It's from the state of Minnesota's website. We're just wondering where the children are.
where the children are.
Yeah, where are the children? It says you have 102 children here, and you got $2.66 million this year in funding, and $2.5 million last year. We're just wondering where the kids are.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley.
And where are you? Where is? Which department?
Oh, we are from ourselves.
Yeah.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going.
Oh!
Look at that. Shut us down. Where are the children at? No children inside of this daycare center. And look, at this daycare center right here, no children inside of this daycare center. But between those buildings, over $2.6 million. We are just curious, where are the children at? Do you know where the children are at? Where are the children at in these daycare centers?
I don't care.
How can these childcare centers have no children?
I don't know.
There's $2.6 million inside these businesses that were given by the government, but there's no children to be seen anywhere. People deserve to know where their taxes are going. If these companies and these daycare centers are making upwards of $2.6 million and there's no children to be seen anywhere, something fraudulent is happening. And that is not make you racist, Islamophobic. This is just the truth of what's happening here in Minnesota. If there's a bunch of white people doing the same thing, we'd be talking about the same issue. This is just fraud at unprecedented levels here inside Minnesota. It's actually very concerning. Where are the children at inside of these buildings? They're nowhere to be seen. Millions of dollars are being sent into these daycare centers all across Minnesota, and there's not a child to be seen anywhere. Here's another daycare center inside the same building.
We don't want you to be videotaping anything.
Where is all the money going for if there's no children at these daycare centers?
Sir,
Yes.
I told you, please leave.
Yes, we have a question though. Where is the children at these daycare centers if there's millions of dollars?
Ask the local government. Yeah.
Oh, we've asked. We have the paper here. So we're wondering where the money and where the children are at. We have the paper right here. Come here.
Who are you, first of all?
My name's Nick Shirley.
You don't have any permission to record me. Period.
Can we talk outside?
You don't have permission to record.
She doesn't either have. She doesn't have permission to record me.
You cannot stop people on the street and question them.
We can ask.
You don't have any permission.
Where are the children?
You. I will sue you. You don't have any permission. We have nothing to do with this.
I'll sue you.
Then are there
So
children?
leave. Please leave.
Are there children here?
Please leave.
Wow.
Where are the children? $2.6 million for a daycare center.
You ask whoever you think is doing that. You don't know what you're talking about. So leave. Leave.
Tell us what's happening here then.
I said leave.
We're wondering what's
We
happening.
are not a child care. We are nothing to do with it. We're common people walking. And
Yes.
You are.
We're not accusing you. We're asking where the children are at.
Don't ask me anything.
We're not accusing you. We're asking the daycare centers.
I am not going to answer. You have.
Where are the children at?
Leave. Leave.
We just want to know where are the children.
Who you work for?
My name's Nick Shirley.
Who do you work for?
I work for myself. Nick Shirley.
Okay. What are you recording?
We're wondering where are the children? $2.66 million for
You're not talking to
the
the
Minnesota
right person.
Child Care Center.
You're not talking to the right person.
Are there children that come here? Answer
You're
the
not
question.
talking
Are
to
there
the right
children?
person. Leave.
There's no children inside this
You
building.
don't know who you're talking to. Leave.
Wow.
That's just a simple question. Where are the children at? David, they won't even answer. We asked him. Plain and simple. Where are the children? Do children come here?
This is why I've had my life. I've been attacked twice. Once with a knife, and the other time I was jumped last Saturday by 3 Somali men simply for asking questions about what was going on. And they're very, very violent people. They do not like this fraud to be exposed.
After giving this man plenty of opportunities to answer the simple question, where are the children? He called the cops on us and we headed to the state capitol where they're having a meeting about the fraud to confront the state representatives and people in the government who have enabled and let this fraud happen. Inside of this committee, a Republican representative showed charts showing exactly how this fraud has been committed and who is profiting and connecting all the dots. And while the Democrat representatives looked into the abyss, one of them spoke about how none of this is building trust and how this is a nonpartisan issue. So I went and confronted her after that.
Yes, but he has some very valid questions to ask about what's going on here in Minnesota. And do you think this fraud
I don't know who
crosses?
you are.
My name is Nick Shirley. Do you think this fraud is Republican or Democrat, or just facts that fraud is happening? Because because that's what I heard you talking about. That
I know what I said is that
because
what we're talking
we want
about
to build trust, but fraud is fraud. So why should we be enabling fraud to happen here?
No, I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
Okay, sir.
No. This
Sir,
is not.
sir.
When are you going to hold Governor Walz? No. She is a representative for the state of Minnesota. Yes or no?
Excuse me.
Yes.
See, that
Are
guy,
you-
If you're gonna talk to me like
you see, low impulse control black guy, he's doing this all wrong. Black guy's ruining. I don't know who this black guy is, but like he's getting confrontational. He's trying to provoke her. He's trying to do it to create content for the internet. He should have just let Nick Shirley talk. Nick Shirley was handling the situation just fine before this guy interjected. Again, I don't know who this guy is, but like like he's already turned me off with his demeanor with this person. And it's not like I have any love for this Democrat woman. I don't really give a fuck about her, but I wanted to see Nick Shirley question her and not the aggressive black guy.
Are you going to say to her, I'm a disability advocate.
I heard you, and
I get
we've got a chance
overstimulated.
to test it.
Oh no, he sounds like a leftist.
Ma'am,
He
the
sounds
facts
like
are
a
the facts that
leftist.
fraud is happening here, and it's not a nonpartisan issue. How come you think fraud has been able to happen so much
I
underneath?
get
I think
overstimulated.
if
government
you've been
here.
listening to our hearings, we've had now 10 hearings on this. And so there's really good data from the people who both work within the administration as well as who both Democrat and Republicans. I think
Yes.
what you heard today is that the Republicans who control this committee are not actually interested in solving fraud. What they're interested in
Well,
is telling a story.
This fraud has happened underneath Democrat leader Tim Walz.
There has been Medicaid fraud across the country under Democrats and Republicans. There's fraud within the Trump administration. We have is fraud. Private providers have made government a mark. And so every person running government, Democrats or Republicans, are dealing with the issue of how to keep fraudsters out of our public payment. We're also dealing with veterans. We're dealing with consumers. I hope you're looking at that. If you look at United Health, currently is being charged with defrauding Medicare. You know who runs Medicare? President Trump. Medicaid fraud is a 50-state issue. And so again, it is not a partisan issue. There are Democrats and Republicans who are sitting in that committee talking about it. But what you did here was the Republican chair say she's not turning information over to the one person in government who can stop payment. And I hope you print that.
I finished my knitting section, guys. Look at it.
Okay.
Pretty. Turned out good.
Well,
Is
you
this
saw what
really
happened
the
there?
state of Minnesota that we live in? And these politicians are just walking off, thinking it's
Oh,
okay
that guy
Tuesday, and they want to go visit the Trump. They want to blame the Trump administration. We have Democrats blaming ICE. I'm tired. My people are suffering. I'm scared for my little brother.
Okay, I don't know who this black guy is, but he has got to stop being on camera. Like this black guy sounds like a leftist. I'm sure he's a very nice guy. He sounds like a fucking leftist.
My people are suffering, and these people
My
just
people
walk
are
off.
suffering.
We have a governor who fucking doesn't care. How many more people are gonna freaking die? How many more people are gonna go homeless? And how many more people are gonna be trafficked in our freaking system?
That was a lot. That was a lot. That was a bit much there. Wow. Listen, man, at the end of it,
Hello, we'd like to ask.
good job, Nick Shirley. Wow. Kick ass. Kick ass job. That is fucking insane. Now, let me ask you guys this. 1 in the chat if you think anything is going to be done about this. 2 in the chat if you think that this is a viral moment on the internet that's really eye-opening, but that our government officials aren't going to actually do anything. 1 in the chat if you think something is going to be done to stop this. 2 in the chat if you think nothing's going to happen because nothing ever happens because the government is fucking incompetent and they don't really care about solving problems. But you know what the Trump administration will do? The Trump administration will use this to run in the midterm elections, but they won't actually do anything to stop it. It's not like Trump controls the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of whatever, ICE or like whatever. It's not like Trump doesn't control like 17 different deportation departments that he can rally. It's not like Trump can't call out the National Guard or send in the fucking Marines. Actually, you know what? Fuck the National Guard. I want the Marines to go into Minneapolis. Thank you for the super chat. Trump controls the entire fucking military. Trump controls the Department of Homeland Security. Trump controls ICE. Trump controls all of this. Trump needs to send the fucking Marines into Minneapolis to round up all the Somalis, put them in a fucking concentration camp until they can put them all on a plane and fly them back to Somalia. That is what needs to happen. And anything less than that, I'm sorry. Anything, like literally anything less than that, I will not be satisfied. This is fucking crazy. This entire video was crazy, and yet I believe all of it. It like the whole thing is like they actually got away with this. Yes, they did. And now they need to get the fuck out and go back to Somalia. Because they've contributed nothing here. They don't speak English. They fucking hate Americans. They have no desire to assimilate. All these people wanted to do is come here, steal our fucking money. They feel entitled to it. They feel entitled that we pay for all of this shit. No, bro, you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not, well, I guess you are because you think nothing's going to happen. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Trump needs to ignore he needs to ignore the Minnesota Attorney General. He needs to go in with the Marines and round up all the Somalians and send them back to fucking Somalia. I don't want them to go to jail. I want them to go back to Africa. Like, honestly. Why are we putting them in jail? That is something that we have to continue to pay for. Send them back to Somalia. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Get on the fucking plane and get the fuck out. Thank you, Cynthia, for the 5 gifted channel memberships. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, Somalia is its own jail. Exactly. Congrats to everyone who got another channel membership from Cynthia. But I don't think anything's going to happen. That's just me. I don't think that anything is going to happen because nothing ever happens and everything sucks and whatever. Latrina, I guarantee as bad as we think it is, it's way fucking worse. Oh, I agree with you, Latrina. I agree with you 1,000%. This should cause revolution, but we're all boiled frogs. This is the last days of the empire type stuff. Love you, Karlyn. Please stay safe. And yeah, well, that's good advice, Latrina. I really do appreciate it. I do really have to become more of a prepper. Like, I do live in, like, the libertarian homeland. I know preppers. I know how to do all this stuff. It's like one of those things where, you know, I don't necessarily know that I want to dedicate a portion of my basement to storing beans and rice and all that stuff, but it probably is, like, a good idea that I probably should do because, yeah, we're pretty fucked. Anyway, I hope I'm wrong about the Trump administration. I hope that something does happen with this. But I, you know, if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. And I don't think most of you think I'm wrong either. I think everyone knows that nothing is going to fucking happen because nothing ever happens. Hey, guess what? New Year's Eve is coming up. You know what we're going to do on the show tomorrow? You guys are going to love this. You guys are going to love. I've got a plan for tomorrow and I have a plan for New Year's Eve. Okay? Are you ready? Our plan for tomorrow is James Lindsay has released a new podcast. Or no, I guess this is a re-release of an old podcast. Anyway, I was thinking we could get a little James Lindsay catch up and maybe listen to some of the stuff that he's been releasing on his New Discourses New Discourses podcast. Like some of the can we have an insane James Day? I feel like 2025 was the year that I triumphed over James Lindsay. We drove James Lindsay insane. The Groypers helped out. It was a group effort. James Lindsay is no longer relevant. James Lindsay is no longer misinforming people about what the left is doing. That was all I wanted. And I feel like before this year is over, we need to just take one final moment of having a last hurrah. We had so many good moments. James called out Reagan at some point. James tried to get me banned off YouTube for watching his videos. James said that James tried to expose me for going on a road trip with a Groyper, even though I was very public about going on a road trip with a Groyper. James has tried to spread rumors about me. James was exposed for being in an open marriage with his wife, in which he forced his wife to be in an open marriage so he could fuck all the moms for liberty. We've had so many great James moments of 2025. The most important of which is that I won and he lost. So I thought we could have one final James moment before we end the year. And then do you know what we're going to do on New Year's Eve? Here's the plan for New Year's Eve. Are you guys ready? You guys ready? We're going to have a Sally Jesse Raphael marathon where we're going to watch old episodes of Sally Jesse. We're going to watch Sally Jesse talking to people about being racist and skinheads. We're going to watch Sally Jesse talk to troubled teenagers. We're going to watch we're maybe even going to watch Sally Jesse talk to a non-binary person. We're going to have a whole Sally Jesse marathon. And we're going to remember the simpler times, like when people were throwing chairs on daytime TV and talking about being Nazis and, you know, worrying about their troubled teenager who was out skateboarding or some such shit. Like we're going to have I actually do have I have a pair of red glasses, but they're kind of messed up. I should find my old pair of red glasses and wear them. Yeah, I gotta dig out the old Sally Jesse glasses. It's true. It's true. So that's what we're gonna be doing on New Year's Eve. And then who knows what we'll do on New Year's Day. We'll come up with a plan. We'll come up with a plan. Yeah, like when freaks were freaks. So that's what we're doing the next couple of days, guys. We're taking it easy because it's the end of the year and no one wants to do work or that sort of stuff. So if you want to join us, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. As a reminder, if you are in the supporter Discord, we will be doing movie night tonight at 9 p.m. If you are not in the supporter Discord and you're a YouTube channel member, you can find the link to the supporter Discord in the community or post tab. If you're a Substack member, you can find it in the chat. I posted both of those yesterday. So you can come get into the supporter Discord. MacB is going to be watching. What is MacB going to be watching? Are we still watching Doctor Who? I forget. MacB is going to be watching something at 9 p.m. in the supporter Discord. And I know someone in the chat knows what he's going to be watching. MacB watches some great movies and some great stuff on movie nights on Mondays. So make sure you join him at 9 p.m. in the supporter Discord if you would like to do that. And I will be back here tomorrow at 5 and we will watch something fun. So that's all we got for today, guys. I appreciate it. Take care and we will see you soon.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here? 3 months, May 17th. And what brought you here? That's difficult to answer. I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital? That's difficult to answer.